one thing is great, Mark, that with AI, everybody's like, okay, I want to automate my business. But when you look at their business, they're like, you don't even need AI here. You just need business intelligence in here. Business intelligence is AKA data analytics, basically. You just need automation reporting. You don't need AI yet.
Welcome to the CTO Compass podcast. I'm your host, Mark Wormgoor, tech strategist and executive coach. In every episode, we meet tech leaders, from startup CTOs to enterprise CIOs, to explore what it means to lead in tech today. They share their stories and their lessons so that you can navigate your own journey in tech. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're joined by Sophia Forsyth, and she's the CEO and founder of the Omadly Group, where they help companies optimize their operations. They gain valuable insights from data and AI, and she helps them buy back their time using AI. She started a career in accounting, where she got very stressed out with the endless spreadsheet, taught herself VBA and SQL, and now she's running the Omadly Group. She's going to share her journey and her story here with us today. Sophia, welcome, and please give us a bit of an introduction.
Thank you so much for having me here, Mark. I'm really happy to be here. Yeah, it's been quite a journey, but I think one thing that I always, and just going back even before I moved to the United States, almost 19 years ago, it's crazy, time flies. I always kind of ask myself, how can I make this better? What else is out there that's better than this? Or how can I else I think buy back my time or automate processes or improve myself in any way. So I think when I made the career transition from accounting to IT, there was so fortunate. I'm very fortunate about this. And I'll tell you why, because at that time I was an accountant and I wasn't even trying to apply for some type of analytical jobs. I got so many no's from recruiters. They were like, nope, you have an accounting job. Like this is your box that you fit in. You are not even financial analyst. So for me to go into system analyst was like a huge jump, basically. And that jump was given to me by the CFO at a company that saw potential in me and gave me this opportunity. So I learned from scratch. So I'm super grateful for that, and just all went from the question, how can I make this better?
And still, how did you get to, you said that you taught yourself VBA and SQL as an accountant, right? As somebody that's into spreadsheets, and I've worked with those people quite a bit. What makes you think I really want to learn VBA and SQL?
Yeah, I just did not want to do repetitive things over and over again. And at that time, I had no idea that there are other tools out there. I just started getting curious. And actually, it was a funny story. Sometimes the life shows you signs, but you kind of ignore them. You think like, well, this is just like, and the sign was, so I had this bank reconciliation that I know would take me probably, I had like 5 of them. That would take me like maybe, somewhere 3 to 5 hours to get done. But I would sit there, spend the entire weekend trying to automate because I will try to, okay, I cannot do another month of the same thing. What's another way that I can automate it? And because I don't know anything about automation at that time, I don't know about anything. At that time, there's no AI that you can speak to and ask to, right? Now you just have internet and you have YouTubes and you have the forums. So I would just sit there and I would spend like 15 hours trying to automate something that took me like 3 hours. But I knew that because, hey, I did 5 bank reconciliations, but it would be additional more that would be coming once I get those done. And I just did not want to do the same thing over and over again. So yeah, this is, I think what, just in seeing little results of how, wow, like you can actually record this and it works. It just kept my kind of interest intact.
Okay, I understand why you ended up in technology and dropped accounting. That makes a lot of sense. So, and you said you got an opportunity then finally by someone to work for as an analyst. What did that look like, and how did you start in that company? What was your job?
So I was an accountant at the senior care management company, and we used Yardi. Yardi is a property management software. So I was a kind of like accountant that used that software. So I remember when I thought of myself, I was like almost a janitor of the books because I would do things every month. Same things, I would pull the reports. And I remember I was like, all right, everything's coming from that system. Why can't it just come in the way I want to? Why do I have to uh, download these spreadsheets, like marry them together, figure out these formulas, why can't it just all come the way I want? So I spend the weekend mapping things out. And I remember that time I had a friend who had a business intelligence background, like, Sophia, you need to be on the other side. You need to go to BI. And I'm like, no, but I'm a CPA. I took certified public accountant. I was really kind of like, but what I was doing there, I was doing data mapping, just kind of on a plain level, telling, okay, which accounts come from where, how they group. So it was, literally was data mapping. And then after that, my CFO saw that work and started automating like expense distribution via Visual Basic Studio. And then I started hanging out with IT folks in the same company. And I see like what they do. They're like, all right, write the code, press F5 button. And now all the information comes in. I was like, what is this? I need to get my hands on this. Like, what am I? So everything in the system, you have it. And yeah, I got the opportunity to move across to another department. And that's when my journey started. That means weekend, evening in the buses, watching about like, okay, structured query language, foreign key, primary key, joins left and right. I'm like, what is that? But let's go learn it. And I actually remember my coworker said something to me. She's like, Sophia, you're really good at this. You have a talent. I was like, really? I do? Really? And I kind of got all like, wow, okay, I'm onto something. So when I moved into the IT department, so I was kind of like spending my time into that database of Yardi. Like basically I would close the tickets as a system analyst, would put those reports, fix the bugs of those reports. And I just loved it. Sit there and do like joins and left and then try to see how the data is coming. But now with AI, everybody could query. Here's a mark. Here's what I was thinking. That's incredible. I spent so much time trying to learn how to query databases to get to get the most accurate information. For example, we were trying to ask, okay, and Yardi Site's a very large property management software. It's very well known in its space. It's like, so if somebody's asking, all right, show me how many units are occupied in this type of a property, for example, in this residential property in the city, in a property, let's say Madison. So when I would have to go write really good query to make sure I actually pull that property, pull the right amount of units, and also put like the occupancy will calculate correctly. So I would spend substantial time to make sure it doesn't, the data doesn't get hallucinated for me, basically. But now it's incredible. Now everybody just uses human language to query things. You don't have to write select statements, do left join, right joins, and learn about where closes and havings. And like there's a whole syntax that you have to learn. Now it's just you use a human language and you could retrieve the information.
And even if you wanted to build an SQL query, you can still do that with AI. You can just feed it the data model and say, just extract the data for me, give me the SQL statement that I need, and that's it. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, and you can ask also from AI to help you even teach how to write query language.
Hmm.
Oh, well, can you evaluate this max formula? Like give me, if you're trying to see, okay, what's the maximum rent that was charged on this property for this unit? Before I would have to like, know how to write that query. Now you could just pop it to AI and AI will write for you and it will even critique it. Invaluable. It does hallucinate. So I still think we'll need to do expert knowledge, but
Yes,
it helps so much.
I agree. And now you're on the other side of the fence, right? You moved to an IT department, you've started your own company. Does your background in accounting, does it still help you now? Or do you think with AI that's easy anyway?
I think what's interesting was thinking the other way. Okay, with AI now, knowledge is on everybody's fingertips, right? Knowledge is no longer a supreme. Knowledge is there, but you know what's supreme now? Judgment. That's what I thought. Judgment is now supreme because how do you know what's right, what's wrong? How do you know if it's correct information or not without blindly testing it? And this is what domain expertise at every level. If you're a marketing person and using AI, now let's say was interesting. Now, when you have automation and now that automation is supervised by IT department, but it's a marketing automation. Like you have no, as a person in IT, you don't understand marketing, might not know all the aspects of the marketing. So the person in the loop should be the marketing person evaluating the responses, not the IT. And the same thing, vice versa, for example. So I think what with AI is judgment is so important. And where accounting helps me is understanding business processes, understanding the financial bottom line effect on things. Like, for example, we have different models out there, but how do you make sure that it's cost optimized? How do we make sure that it's not using up like tokens, and basically it's also cost effective and also affecting what is ROI on this, for example, automation. Does it make sense or not?
Yeah. So cool. Makes sense. No, and I agree. Judgment is the hardest thing. I've seen, well, you see it in the vibe coding space. A lot of people are vibe coding, which is nice. But the judgment, is this code good or not, is still something that we still need to learn. I think a lot of people. Anyway, moving on. After your move to the IT department and your IT roles, you started your own business, the Almadli Group, in the middle of COVID, September 2021. What made you do that? And how did you start and how did you become successful over the past couple of years?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, I actually started that year before. So I'd registered my business after, but I started in 2020 when I got laid off during COVID. And I was like, all right, what do I do? So I went on Upwork, and what do I know? I know Yardi well. So how can I now utilize my knowledge of this system and help other people with, setting up a Yardi, maybe automating their processes? I remember my first client. Honestly, I have this folder that I keep on my golf, and it's my like folder of all my wishes and desires. I still have my first check that I ever made from my own company right here. It's $4,950. And it's July 10, 2020. So I'll never forget this because when I got this first client, like after applying so many, I was just like kind of going like sending like thousands basically of proposals. I thought, "Oh my god, somebody hired me." Now I don't have us behind a team that I can go and ask questions from, right? I have no AI as well. So if I screw something up, basically, well, now it's somebody's business that I'm like basically, not helping with, and somebody's trusting their their time with me. All right. So I took the step and I went on all, and it was great. I was like, okay, I actually could help. And I love the idea that I don't have to go through, for example, when you're trying to apply for a job, you go through the entire interview process that takes weeks, and then you meet with this team, that team. Here with the owner, okay, I'm using Yardi. Can you help me? I have a mess. Can you start tomorrow? Sure. So right there, I'm at the task, putting things together, jumping on and getting stuff done. And now you see the immediate return on your time and immediate impact as well.
Okay. And I've got to ask this question, right? Because it's something that I saw when I was looking into you. You're everywhere. So we're in a community together, and I see you post there and chat with people all the time. I know you have this weekly, I think, open AI hour. I've seen what you do on social media. You're everywhere, and still you run a business. It seems like and you just talked about the thousands of proposals that you put out, and I'm actually tempted to believe that that is actually true, that number. What's what makes you tick, and how do you show up everywhere all the time?
Okay, so 1,000 proposals was overestimate, but I've sent a lot of proposals. Um, I think I have a team. And then what I'm learning is I'm still learning. It's still in A/B testing, Mark, because I've read the book Buy Back Your Time, right? Dan Martell, you got to buy back your time and have systems. And this is what I've been putting on for the last month, working on the systems, having a team that I cannot show up everywhere because I also have two little kids, and I also have a business to run, ops to deliver, and as well as sales to do. So having the team is so important. I actually made a mistake, and I want to share with everybody because the lessons I've learned, if somebody wants to, here's 101 Zilphia thing that I did not do. So, if you're starting a business and you have this one good client, for example, like me, when I got my first client, right, and it was a great success, I did not hire an executive assistant. And I should have hired executive assistant because what I did there, well, I got this one client. Now I went out there and started searching for more clients like this and start putting together case studies that I did not actually because I didn't have time. I just kept like applying for more, let's say for more jobs, and more jobs were coming, and I was just fulfilling them, and then start trying to also build the team on my own, trying to train the team by my own. And I think after in 2024, after delivering the baby, so my baby now is 10 months old, uh, I think right before I went to deliver, I started looking for executive assistant. So you understand, Mark, all these years I was doing it all by myself. And as I got executive assistant now, so we're both on Dan Martell's, and I read the book, Buy Back Your Time, but I think I was pregnant, so a lot of things were hazed too. I was I was consuming all of the books, all of the content, and I was implementing, but not at implementing at the speed that I should have. So I would say for everyone who's starting the business, if you got one successful client, hire EA, hire executive assistant that can even part-time can come help you now, can help you to put the case study, can help you to put your word out about the things that you do, the profile or person that X you serve, offering Y. So help you to with copywriting content, ideas. So help you to hire and also put together the standard operating procedures with others. So your time goes into more, I would say, okay, refining those standard operating procedures, also get the word out there and training people so you can scale faster and scale also in more, I would say, a realistic way where you not stretch yourself thin. So I started with even podcasting. I started in February of this year, so 2025. But I think a lot of us business owners, we always like, all right, we think we got this one thing, it's great, and now like, how can we get more, right? We don't think of our buyback time. At least I didn't think of. It's like, how do I? What we think? How do we get more clients? We always think, how do we get more clients? Not how do we buy back our time? I think at least that's where my head it was like, right now, how could I get more clients? And now it means me going out there searching for those clients, me putting together case studies, me hiring people, trying to do fulfillment, where you could have AI starting helping that from basically, from you first, just even part time, and then you can grow them, and then you can scale your business.
Yeah, I think it's such a cool lesson. It's such a valuable lesson instead of just scaling, seeing where you can buy back your time. No, and I agree. I mean, we've met with through Demartel, and it's an incredible book that he wrote, indeed. So now you're running. You started as a freelancer. You're running the Omadli group. Where's that name actually from? What does it mean?
Yes, I'm originally from Uzbekistan. It means lucky.
It means lucky.
Yes, it means,
Okay.
and it's interesting.
Okay.
So it's my husband is third generation Irish, and they have lucky side. So he came up for me.
Okay. And wow, that's so cool. Okay. And you launched in pandemic times, middle of Corona, which is, I'd say, courageous, but also very difficult finding clients, although Upwork is very much online still, but a lot of businesses were suffering. How did that shape your business in any way?
So I actually was also looking for full-time jobs. So I did two jobs. So I had full-time job and I also had the Upwork going at the same time. But then in 2023, in January, I got laid off just because it was restructuring and my corporate job. And about that time, I was working till 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had my son was 2023. He was a year plus old. So it was already, and I'm not a quitter, Mark. I'm not a quitter. So it's almost like the universe was giving me like a nudge, a kind of very heavy nudge. All right, you cannot keep working till 2 o'clock in the morning. You need to basically focus on one thing and grow that thing.
Okay, that makes sense. No, but that's such a cool story. And then you're now, well, you've built a business. It looks like a very successful business. Do you have like a client story or your most successful story of what you did with your Motley Group?
Absolutely. Well, I absolutely loved working with my clients, and I think so. We helped clients in e-commerce space and Yardi, property management company, for example. So with Yardi, is clients were just like, "All right, can you do this?" And that's what I love. Just reaching out, finding me on LinkedIn, be like, "All right, I have this thing. We're trying to build a business intelligence in our company. Is there something you can help us to automate our spreadsheet?" Sure. And it just turns from one spreadsheet. And this is what I love. It's always just one small task. As soon as they see the benefit of automation, now we have built entire business intelligence suite for them. We built multiple reports supporting their multiple departments, property management department, asset management department. Then we talk about financial department as well. So now they have these reports that nobody's putting together anymore. Before, when we came to them, they had this 14 tab report that they had to support on weekly basis to show what their portfolio performance is like, large performance. And now they can grow, scale their business as well because they have their numbers. They can see what's happening with their, for example, utility report, the CRAB. So what's happening with their occupancy report, what's happening with their delinquencies as well, who's paying, who's not. So that was another one was we help with the e-commerce client as well. They had someone left the job and all the reports was kind of hanging, you know. And we came in, and I remember looking at one of the reports. It was 34 joints, like a kind of like when you open the SQL joint, 34 joints. It was a mess, basically. So we came in, we cleaned it all up, delivered one report, and then 2+ years, kind of, the project was going on. So it's great. And then I think hearing the feedback from our clients was just like, all right, one of the stuff that they said, we look at other developers and they want everything structured, meaning they want, okay, can you give us the exact scope? Can you please like put everything for us, kind of like in detail so we know where to go? For you, it's like, all right, we have a mess. Can you come help us? Sure. And we kind of figure out, put the mess together. We help them because, it takes, I understand them because we want to make our clients' life easier. We don't want them to make extra help. We're experts. We come in, we'll put structure for you, we clean up your mess. We also put some of the documentation for you as well. So now you have a clear processes. You see what report is coming, how it's going, and we basically then went on supporting their CFO, went on supporting their marketing department, and then just the operations department. And yeah, that was one of the things that's just like whatever they give us, we can handle and we can basically give them clarity. As AI came in now, when I was starting with business intelligence and now artificial intelligence. It just made sense for us to move in that direction now that we have data, right? We work with data at the end of the day. The way I see the AI is uh, at that time we'll still have the silo system. So there's a lot of systems that companies use, lots of them, right? They use for marketing, then they use for financial, then they use for ops, then project management, then there's a time management maybe together tied. There's a client relations system as well. So there's a lot of systems that they use, and there's a lot of let's say gaps in between of them. So the way we look at this, okay, we assess when the company comes to us. And one thing is great, Mark, that with AI, everybody's like, okay, I want to automate my business. But when you look at their business, they're like, you don't even need AI here. You just need business intelligence in here. Business intelligence is AKA data analytics, basically. You just need automation reporting. You don't need AI yet. So that's good too, because you don't need to spend money on LLMs and with large language models, it's generative AIs. It's, it needs more time, reiteration, testing. Where with data analytics, what you do is, all right, well, you retrieve the information, you have the formula, you have more predictable results. So we assess what the need is of the company. So do they need automation? Do they need artificial intelligence, or is this a business intelligence task? So then you don't need to slap AI on everything, basically.
And still, you've developed a couple of your own AI agents. I was actually looking at one of your videos and I thought that was a really cool one because I think it speaks to a lot of us in tech, where you said that you spoke to somebody who was also saying they use AI agents and basically they were just using ChatGPT. You turned your screen around and it was like full IDE with Python code everywhere, right? And that's the reality of building agents. It's actually still quite a bit of coding to get a full agent up and running. You've
Yep.
built a couple of your own agents at Omatly. Can you tell me what those are for and why you built them?
So with looking at everything, I've learned that I really wanted to niche in the industry to kind of become expert on that industry. That way, we can really help a lot of companies address their pain points. A couple of AI agents that now we productize to make it so much easier is our Wiki Voice AI agent to help construction service companies with picking up the phones. Because as you might know, some of the, for example, HVAC, like the people might call with, but we are still kind of, I would say, there's still heat season might come in, but we're at the end of it, but we're coming into plumbing season where as a frost comes in, the cold comes in, burst pipes, so people start calling. And a lot of times what we notice is for small business owners is we all know that if that contractor is not picking up, it's moving on to another contractor. So what we do is we have Vicky Voice agent that helps to answer all the calls, helps to route them to the urgent calls, help them also to book an appointments. And another very cool thing is as we speak to a lot of business owners, they might have a need for second language. So now we're adding Spanish, for example, or we also adding Russian. So a lot of business owners that come in, they're immigrants, and the English is sometimes a challenge. They're really good at what they do, but they might have also the clients that are the non-English speakers. So we adding that, and really cool actually. So what we have, the wiki answers the call in English, but it also gives a translation to them in notes. So then you can see the translated in their language what the person was asking. Because when we hear the stories sometimes as a business owners, they will pick up the call and they don't understand the English. They would have to call their buddy, like, "Hey, someone is calling. Can you please translate it to me? Help me to kind of how can I?" Or they would have to call someone and their family members they can speak to kind of assist that person. But now Vicky can take all of that, do the translation, and also send them book that in their CRM. Be like, this is a translation in your language, what they were calling and asking about.
Oh, wow. That's really cool that it does the translation, but also for the business owners to translate that English conversation into Spanish or Russian for them. I had no
Yes.
idea. Cool. Okay. And I think that's incredibly helpful. You said you're specializing. Is that mostly to construction and property management, or what's your specialization now?
Yes, yes, yes. So we're working right now on construction. So we're helping construction companies, where it's plumbing companies or like so I would say plumbing trades fire alarm system as well to onboard Wiki, but also automate other processes they might have, like data analytics. Same thing. They also need reporting and with now we also know very well Yardi, so I'm kind of like narrowing down and helping a Yardi property, other Yardi property management companies as well to automate their processes.
And you're working with, well, these people as plumbers, for example. They're maybe not the most technical people out there. How do you explain AI or data and analytics or automation or reporting to a plumber that's running a plumbing business?
That's a good question, actually. And then I would say it's still a challenge that I'm working on, and I have to do door to door. Um, I'm gonna do door to door, and I'm thinking, all right, this week actually I have to do some door to door in my local neighborhood. And the way I say is this: okay, this is technology. I'm trying to kind of remove the AI part of it, but really, what an AI is technology to help you to answer all your calls, to book more jobs, and help you to make more money. And I also have a demo. They can like also speak to AI, for example, on the call and kind of assess how it performs. But it's definitely going to be a challenge, Mark, because a lot of people that are owners, I need to take them on the other side. I need to show them, hey, there's a better way because a lot of us, okay, they know this works. Even if I'm doing spreadsheets, I know it works. I know there's a repeatable process around it. This is a new thing for me in terms of automation. What helps is also showing other win cases as well, showing how I helped, even if they, you already like, look, they went from Excel spending 192 hours to 0 hours now. 0 hours. I mean, you can't beat that. If you want a report to see what your numbers are, how many jobs you closed, like for example, now you have to ask your assistant put it together, or someone in your team put it together. They have to scramble, but then you have this live data at your fingertips that you can see each time. And I want to talk about one more Farmon. We made Farmon AI agent is a knowledge base agent, and that knowledge base agent is great because they can take all of their historical submittals and now they can query, because the traditional way they would have to go in the system, find the profile of the person of the customer that they are trying to, let's say, order equipment, like a water heater. And then they have to dig through information. Where now, if they could just query it with a human language, just in English, all right, well, I have this potential customer. Let's say for this type of a building, we need this many of water heaters. Well, can you tell us who did we order from before, and what capacity, what sizes? And now the information kind of comes to them instead of them digging through their system, finding it out, and like spending all that time and maybe potential rework as well could be avoided.
So very much show and tell. Show it to them, show what it can do,
Yes,
and
and
then
working on my also content. So a couple of pieces that I'm recording right now is how Vicky is literally I'm talking to Vicky and it's going to my go high level and entering the urgent, basically creating urgent ticket. So I'm a customer and saying I need urgently to fix my AC, and Vicky is on a go high level and creating a ticket and putting urgent bucket.
putting that in an online social media video so everybody can see it.
Yes,
So cool.
yes.
Okay. And I want to talk a bit about the other side. I mean, a lot of people that are listening to this are CTOs, they are in technology, they are CIOs. You speak to a lot of small business owners, but maybe the same applies to other larger businesses as well. What do you still see as the biggest misconceptions or misunderstandings about AI and the people that you talk to?
Very good one. In that video, oh, I use ChatGPT every day. I think that's a misconception. Or, for example, I was also listening interesting article. A lot of people think, okay, I'm AI competitive just because I rolled out ChatGPT and I rolled out Copilot. But that's not really AI competitive there. The training, assessment training needs to be done. We need to be looking at other processes that you have that are still lagging. And I'm telling you, there's so many people that I talk to, Mark, that are so successful and so large that this is a wake up call now because they've been running their business as like 10 years plus back, for example. They still have a lot of clunky systems that they use. Their QA, QC process is very, even how they submit the invoices, like a large companies, they still lag on their quality process, which takes them cash flow effect on it. So basically, which costs them the cash flow. So just because this process so manual. Um, so I would say, yeah, just looking and saying, okay, well, I use ChatGPT every day, and um, there could be the question needs to be asked at the process that we'll look at what can be made better here? What can be done better here? If it's repeating like 2, 3 times every month or every week, what's another way of doing this? Because if we're not employing that mindset, our competitors are just going to eat us for lunch.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think that was my next question, but I think you sort of answered it. A lot of CIOs, CTOs, they work in these larger businesses, these larger organizations, and they see all these clunky systems around them, like you said about the invoice check. How should they go about, or how should they think about convincing their stakeholders in finance or somewhere else? You were an accountant. What would you expect from somebody like that to persuade you and to help you?
I think one number one thing is what is it causing on a cash flow? What is the financial impact of this? And all right, so with the QA/QC process, if they have quality assurance process now delaying the submittal of the invoices and how much money this is costing them based
Saying that,
this that's and that could be calculated. If you take the average invoice, times the days of delays, and it's a huge cash impact.
and then measuring success of an impact after a project, after run an AI project, is also quite simple using the same cash flow impact. Has that changed? Has there been a difference?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Cool. I think the biggest challenge that we see, and well, you deal with a lot of construction companies, but also in larger companies, is data, right? It's very nice to have clean data, to have a perfectly clean database. That is never the case, or at least not in the business that I've seen. How do you go about addressing that in the companies that you work with? And what would your advice be to CIOs or CTOs in larger businesses?
This is actually so we this example of QA/QC is such a good example that we can bring up because the data is created by us humans, right? So we insert the data in some way, in shape and form. And when we work with the construction companies, for example, what we see is, well, we work with technicians that say on the field they've done their job and now they enter in their information that turns into the invoice. But the information that they might be entering is grammatically incorrect, is incomplete, is inconsistent with let's say there's a guidelines and rules, right? So now what happens, the financial side of the billing department cannot submit that invoice because first of all, they have to review it manually. Then they have to put together invoice based on it manually, let's say, right? To kind of clean it up because they can't send that to the client. Well, right there is data inconsistencies, the garbage data, garbage in, garbage out. This is where AI could help. This is where AI could basically, okay, assess the information that came from the technician because they're busy. Their job is not to enter the admin work. Basically, their job is like, all right, I'm on the field. I assess what's happening. Like my job is to kind of like fix it or propose some type of a solution to fix it. Basically, my job is not to write like eloquent, uh, yeah, statements here. So this is where AI could come in, basically evaluate, all right, well, this is our protocol, for example. These are the rules that we need to submit our information. Is it matching it or not? Because AI is really great at pattern matching. Well, now it has seen so many of them and it could say, all right, well, for example, the piece about the instructions are not complete. Can you please provide additional information? So it can go back to it and actually clean up as well, clean up the writing. We do that very well, right? We can uh, copy and paste our stuff into ChatGPT and rewrite it. That does really well. Summarize it, put the nice heading to it, all right, and then bring it back to the for invoicing. So don't and have a human, for example, at invoicing now that they are experts and know what information should go in there, quickly evaluate, and then just that process now is so much smoother. And I think as we talk about AI, AI cannot run on chaos and AI cannot run on systems that don't have APIs because there's no backend access, right? So like there's nothing you could do. And actually we are dealing with that as well. Like we want to help a couple companies to automate, but if system does not allow, and there's still a lot of companies that use systems that there's no backdoor for you to push and pull information. So kind of stuck. And this is where you need to make a decision. Okay, do you move to another system? What's the process of migrating to another system? Because, or does the system opens the API at some point or not? But yeah, um, and data cleansing is very important because AI generates content based on the data that you give it to.
Exactly. And that's so for integration, you depend on the APIs that are in those systems. And if they're not there, it's kind of hard. Do you ever use like the integrated API? Because almost every tool supplier these days thinks we're going to give you an AI agent or an AI interface that you can sort of work with. Do you use those tools as well? The integrated AIs of those tools?
Good point. So, for example, about Wiki Voice AI agent, right? So there's a jobber in construction that has the AI. Go High Level has the AI. But here's what we see with our clients. Our clients are they kind of a little worried about turning that on without proper supervision, without proper, I would say, fine tune, right? About proper giving direction. Because again, that system is picking up the calls. So you want to make sure you audit the calls, making sure that there's safe guardrails around it that's not hallucinating, giving pricing that you probably never told it to, you know, or give the services that you didn't ask, or actually give like system prompt, for example. So yeah, what we see is, you know, I almost like at the beginning I was kind of like, oh my god, like every software is going to come with their own AI. I was kind of like, what am I going to help with, right? So I was a little worried, but now the way I look at this was more like, wait a minute, it's the same way as like with analytics. You already came with their own analytics. Nobody uses them because it's not great, because it's out of box and it does not speak to that client. And it's the systems are so large, they cannot like make it for you, like knowing all your, let's say, pain points, all the processes that you run your company on. So what we do custom for them, or we fine tune and kind of like, adjust the ones to them. So I think the same thing with what I see with the AI as well. It's like every system comes with own AI, but it comes out of package. So now you can integrate it. So for example, Salesforce comes with their own force agents, but they still need to be integrated. You can't just like turn them on and now like go wild, basically go run wild.
I love that analogy with integrated analytics. And I think that that indeed, well, resonates with me. Makes a lot of sense, that analogy. I can see how that works. Yeah.
For example, right, Mark, if you've heard of NetSuite, same thing. There's NetSuite whole consulting company, but NetSuite has the analytics. So why there's need consultants? Same thing. You need integrators. So the way I look at this, I'm a construction integrator, basically. That's where I'm at.
Helping them get the best use out of their tools and adding additional tools if necessary.
That's right. But I'm not competing with Google's and, and basically OpenAI's. I'm just using the tools that are out there that are given and then fine tuning these models now to have that domain knowledge and expertise.
Okay. And that's then my next question. And I think that's very close to what you just said. If you're a leader in tech, right? You're a CTO, CIO. What are the skills that you need to build yourself, but also in your team to stay competitive in that world? I mean, they all come from indeed the NetSuites, the SAPs of the world, or these older systems. It's a complete new world. What is it that they need to learn or know or understand to stay competitive themselves as people?
I think obviously ChatGPT is number one. Google AI Studio, I would say go for the AI package. I think understanding like Google, basically understanding all these AI tools that are out there. Let's say ChatGPT, Google AI Studio, Notebook LLM. And I know this is going to be like too much, but I think it's good to know what tools out there. Just even have a little bit of idea of co-pilots, right? What they are capable of, and also know a little bit of vibe coding. Well, for you now, for CTOs that have a technical background, vibe coding is almost like, well, with their Python skills together, they get more use out of it. They get more, I would say, ROI that somebody has zero technical experience still will struggle a lot with that. Because you can see, all right, well, how can I clean up my data? For example, how even for right now for us, when we're doing BI side, well, how can we use AI here to help with the like how can we write better queries? What's the process around data cleaning, for example, what tools out there from Microsoft, if our clients are Microsoft or my clients are on Amazon, for example, what are tools that we can use to kind of streamline those processes and keep it secure as well?
Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense. But then still, all the technology goes so fast. I mean, even from just Google, you have a new model every month, every 2 months, and there's so many different providers. How do you stay up to date? How do you actually keep updated on everything that's going on out there? Because it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I would say, what I'm trying to do as well is okay, not to get overwhelmed with everything. Is first of all, there's a benchmarking, for example, on the LLMs. So let's say there's a GPT-4, right? Was now swapped with GPT-5. There's a nano version of GPT-5 as well. So there's a website for benchmarking. You can see, okay, well, if this is out now, GPT-4 is not available. Before you move to GPT-5, what other model you can swap to? That are kind of performing on the latency, performing on accuracy, performance, and kind of just make that decision that way. I would say, but also for CTOs, okay, we're looking at what environment does your company work in? Is it a Microsoft environment or it's Amazon environment? And now looking at the tools that are available within that environment and kind of going more a little bit deeper on that and see, okay, well, is this useful or is this not useful? Is this just like extra noise, for example? And also saying, all right, if you have something that's working, does it need to be swapped or not? For example, we have Power BI Microsoft. It's working great for our client. Um, it's performing, it's pulling everything. Well, that doesn't probably need to be swapped for anything else, just because there's no reason for it. It's already giving ROI. The reports are consistent. But if you trying to add now additional AI layer to it, well, what's available there? Can I turn on Copilot? Now give me summaries on that report, maybe or do I want a deeper knowledge? And deeper knowledge, do I need to now maybe bring Farman, for example? So instead of so Farman, the way with Farman is it's a knowledge base. So it will be trained on the internal docs as well as, for example, your RD database, and you could query it. But here's the difference: instead of you buying the ChatGPT licenses for each of the users, now where the Farman comes in, you basically it's a custom GPT that's has the that basically has an open AI agent behind it as an engine. And now instead of you buying licenses for each of the users, you don't have to do that. And then you can just restrict the, let's say, um, role of security. You can add that, restrict accesses, and kind of it's much more scalable solution. And then also you can fine tune model by adding, for example, right now we're going to implement 1,500 files. 1,500 files for AI to read. If you ask ChatGPT, it's max 10 and it's like freezes up a little bit, but now you have your internal docs in training or compliance that you don't want to buy, and you have 50 people that need to be basically using it. So now you would have to buy 50 licenses for each person to have access to that. But if you have solutions like ours now, basically you don't have to buy licenses and it's secure. It's on Azure hosted, for example. It's also encrypted. There's a data backup in 3 different places. So what I'm saying is much more scalable solutions now available with AI.
Cool. But again, that requires the expertise of what's available out there.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. The last couple of questions that I want to ask are more about leadership and mindset. You started from being an accountant and grown to running your own business. What's like one of the biggest mistakes or failures that you made that really was an incredible learning experience for you along the way?
Oh my gosh. Just like the one that I said, I think one of the lessons that I'm trying to learn in life is proper asset allocation. Time, money, energy, proper asset allocation. And I think I'm banging my head many times, one, to learn that. Um, First thing that I didn't get EA earlier. Second thing, I didn't get the outreach system in place. Meaning, if you're trying to run a business, you have to have either what you do yourself, then you pass it on to somebody, and have an outreach. Maybe have your EA, maybe someone else, like another virtual assistant, come help you with the outreach system. So you're not doing all because it's impossible. Um, I would say also, when I was hiring people, I was hiring based on likes. Like, I like you, okay, great, and you have a pulse, we'll go. And you're telling me you can do this job. You're telling me. And it just like, I think that was a lot because sometimes things don't work out, and I did not have a clear KPIs. I did not have a clear, let's say, job responsibilities. I did not know, and I'm still learning that. Just FYI, I'm still learning those skills. But it's cost what it costs on the other side. It cost delayed projects. It cost basically, yeah, the late project is huge because it's your reputation, and every business that comes into you, it's like it's a gold basically. For me, it's the trust that it's just worth so much to me. Somebody trusted me with their business. I want to help them and I know I'll help them, but if the execution is failing at some point, it's also I think as a founder, it's all my fault. At the end of the day, it's all my fault. And I think that burns a lot. Like those are kind of like I'd say those calluses, that sometimes tell you like you want to throw a towel, like you don't know what the heck are you doing. You don't know what you're doing. Like you're not hiring the right people for the right jobs, or things are not working out. Process gets delayed, and then also you don't have systems because you just like you're overstretched. And I think systems is proper asset allocation requires systems.
Great. Final question then. Where do you see yourself, the O'Malley Group, in 5 years from today? 5 years is a very long time, but still.
Yes. 5 years from today, I want to scale business in construction space. I want to be the expert. We want to be the expert in construction space as well, delivering great value, helping the construction businesses buy back their time because I know right now it's daytime. Because with the AI, basically, uh, there's so much demand, data infrastructures that requires buildings need to be built for all that code to be supported. And I know there's a lot of need for training, compliance from that end, as well as processes that needs to be systemized and automated so they can scale and actually take those jobs as well on. And the way I see this is, we'll see if the agents are still going to be there, but we'll pivot. We will pivot with the way of delivering the value for our clients. Okay, if there would be another technology product piece come next. It's just normal evolution. First there was what Excels that came through, right? Then there was a database. Well, Excel was kind of database, right? And now you have the SaaS, and then you have like basic old analytics, and now we have AI. So it's just we are going to be evolving with technology with the goal of providing still life accurate time.
Thank you so much. It's been incredible having you here, Sophia. Thank
Thank,
you very much.
thank you for having me.
As we wrap up another episode of the CTO Compass, thank you for taking the time to invest in you. The speed at which tech and AI develop is increasing, demanding a new era of leaders in tech. Leaders that can juggle team and culture, code and infra, cyber and compliance, all whilst working closely with board members and stakeholders. We're here to help you learn from others, set your own goals and navigate your own journey. And until next time, keep learning, keep pushing, and never stop